Good afternoon, everybody, from Minsk. Christos Sorodi, Sarastvam, Christovum. Merry Orthodox Christmas to all of you who are celebrating Christmas in the Eastern Hood. I'm talking about the people here in Belarus, where we have two Christmases, the Catholic and the Orthodox Christmas today. Russia, Ukraine, Georgia, Serbia, Christos Sorodi, Montenegro, Macedonia, and the Orthodox churches in Africa. I'm talking about Eritrea, Ethiopia, and of course the Coptic Egyptian church as well, for those 20 million Egyptians who are Coptic Christians. Okay, so anyway, why I'm here today on this bitterly cold day, currently right now it's about minus 20. It's very cold, and I hope my camera does not pack up in the absolute freezing cold. So if any of you guys are wondering why I'm not vlogging outside, well, it's because of this kind of weather. It's like very, very cold as such. But anyway, this is where we're here. We're out. It's Christmas Day, Orthodox Christmas Day. So about 3 days ago, I left a message on the community page asking for some ideas, some feedback on what kind of content that you guys want me to cover. And I've got a lot of good feedback from you guys, I have to say, pleasantly surprised. And I've got a lot of suggestions from you. So without further ado, let's start off then with the first question. Okay, so this one came from Mr. Bleezy, and he said, the Minsk Metro, who or what the stations are named after, and any other info would be mint. Happy New Year, Mr. Partisan. Well, Господин Blize, Synovim Godam, Happy New Year to you. So anyway, I am standing here right now at Plasha Jakub Kolas. We're right in the center of Minsk, and here in this area here we have Plasha Jakub Kolas metro station, and it's called after this guy, Jakub Kolas. And who exactly was he? Well, his real name was Konstantin Mickiewicz. He is perhaps Belarus' most famous writer, also translator, and he adopted the pen name of Jakub Kolas. Kolas, of course, means grain in Belarusian, and his writings, his works, tended to rely heavily and focus a lot on the Belarusian peasantry, hence the peasants. And also, if you actually go inside Jakub Kolas metro station, you will see the friezes on the wall of Belarusian peasants. But anyway, we're here at Plasha Jakub Kolas, so let's go inside, guys, and let's buy ourselves a metro ticket, and I'll take you on a journey to a couple of these stations, metro stations, tell you a bit about them, and also answer some of the questions as well that you have actually sent to me, and some of these suggestions. Добрый день. 4 жетона, пожалуйста. Спасибо. Очень холодно сегодня. Well, guys, welcome to Plasha Pobedy, or Plasha Peremogi in Belarusian. This means Victory Square. And of course, this square commemorates the sacrifice that the Soviet and the Belarusian people paid against fascism in World War II. More than 2.5 million Belarusians died freeing their land from Nazi Germany. A war, the Great Patriotic War, that cost the lives of over 30 million Soviet citizens. A sacrifice that should never ever be forgotten, no matter who you are, no matter where you are. If you see in front of me, we have a huge slogan, and it says "Podvig naroda besmrten." The feats of the people is immortal. I absolutely agree. And on that note, I got a question from Gareth Williams. I presume he's from Wales. So anyway, he said to me, maybe something on the Bielskis and the forest they lived in during the Nazi occupation. Neil, why not? It's something that is definitely in the pipework that I've been working on over the last couple of years. It's definitely something that I want to do, and if I am going to do the Belsky brothers, these were, of course, the famous Jewish anti-fascist partisans during World War II. There was actually a movie made about them a number of years ago, famous film, starring a James Bond actor, the name of which I've completely forgotten. Okay, so that will be done, and maybe something on Pyotr Masharov as well. Now, in case you guys don't know who Pyotr Masharov was, he was the General Secretary of the Communist Party of Belarus and SSR, and he came to power sometime in the mid-1965, 1966, and he was the head of the Communist Party here until his unfortunate death in 1980. And it was during this time that Belarus became a rather prosperous Soviet republic. And even over 40 years after his death, a lot of people still remember him as a very good and able and almost incorruptible party official and leader. If you walk along the Miga, you'll see a lot of the new buildings there, and Minsk, of course, and Belarus was highly developed and attained a very high standard of living under Pyotr Masharov. And who knows, if he had lived, maybe he could have become the General Secretary of the Soviet Union, of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, succeeding Brezhnev. And who knows, the Soviet Union could have stayed together under his term. Yeah. By the way, since we're in Plashet Pobedi, I'm going to take you to a place that shaped not only Soviet but also world history as well. Well, we haven't actually walked far from the metro station, Plashet Pobedi, but up there in that apartment once lived Lee Harvey Oswald. Yes, that Lee Harvey Oswald who allegedly assassinated John F. Kennedy in Dallas on November 22nd, 1963. And Lee Harvey Oswald lived here in Minsk for 3 years in the late 1950s. And while he was living here, he worked in a local television factory and a local radio factory as well. And he met his wife Marina and their child, whom he took back to the United States. And long story short, Lee Harvey Oswald was implicated in the assassination of John F. Kennedy on the grassy knoll, and in turn he was assassinated by Jack Ruby. Yeah, and we all know what happened to John F. Kennedy. Yeah, ask me guys, that was an inside job. But anyway, behind me, that's where he lived for 3 years. It is absolutely cold, guys. It was freezing. Okay, so let's get back into the metro station, and I'll take you to the next stop. All right, let's go. Check out the Soviet mural. Welcome to Oktyabrska, October Square. And you can see with the Christmas and New Year festivities, and also the House of the Republic, Palace Respubliki, The Palace of the Republic. Gotta be careful, guys. The footpaths can be tricky. Anyway, this place here, the Palace of the Republic, quite an interesting story about it. And that construction on this building first began in the late 1980s when the Soviet Union collapsed. Well, they stopped working on it, and it was only until 2001 that it was actually completed, or thereabouts. And the reason why this place is called Oktyabrska is because, of course, of the Great October Socialist Revolution, 1917. You're probably wondering, why does Minsk have a metro system? Why does Minsk have a good public transport system? And it's like this. In the Soviet Union, there was a rule that any city that reached the threshold of 1 million people automatically had to have a metro built for it. So in the former Soviet Union, you have places like, of course, Moscow, St. Petersburg, then called Leningrad, Tashkent, Yekaterinburg, then called Sverdlovsk, Minsk, Kiev, Kharkov. All today have a metro system. This is the Ratusha, right in the center of Minsk, and that behind me is the old city hall, the old town hall. And the Ratusha, under the time of the Grand Duchy of Lithuania in 1499, it was granted free city status. It meant that it could trade under the laws of the Magdeburg laws of 1499. And that's when Minsk began its life as an important economic hub and as a trading center. And around this area you can see lots of restaurants. Over there is the restaurant Ratusha. That, of course, the main Orthodox church. And behind me, of course, is the Catholic church. Place to buy coffee and souvenirs. Okay. We have lots of food places, place to eat, lots of restaurants. And that leads me on to the next question. Now, I've received a number of questions from you guys in connection to this topic. And, of course, it's about food. From Sabert, number 5, he said, more food o'clocks. Sorry for the caps. No worries, man. So, as I mentioned, I've got a lot of questions, a lot of suggestions about this topic. And yes, there will be some more food o'clocks, more reviews. And it's 4 p.m, guys. So yeah, guys, stay tuned. There will be more food o'clocks and more food reviews. We're now on Malskaya Street. As you know, this is party central in Minsk, the hub of the nightlife in all of Minsk. However, some people say that Oktyabrska Street has already outpaced it. But anyway, topic has changed. We're now going to go on to nightlife, and that's my next suggestion. Now, unfortunately, I can't go up there because there's music playing, and of course YouTube is very, very picky about copyright, and I've been done for copyright before, guys, in relation to music. It's from Kurt Krampmeyer, and he's said, definitely more videos with Tall Travels, Connor Klein, and of course the man himself, Mr. Bald, Господин Lisi. Less with Anfisa. Anfisa was boring. Hey, what are you talking about? That's Anfisa, that's my good friend of mine. Anfisa, as you know, is a hot Belarusian chick whom I have featured in my videos in relation to nightlife videos. Well, guys, this comes from Malskaya Street, and as you can see, it's quite a nice, pleasant street. It's all very, very pedestrianized. And that leads me on to the next comment that I got from Sung Belong, and he said, the pedestrianization of Norwich city centre. Oh, I've got some ridiculous comments But speaking of pedestrianization, I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with pedestrianization. And when it's done right, it's quite nice, it's quite pleasant. Like what we have here on Malskaya Street. Yeah. However, if you're from Waterford like me, and if you've seen the fallout of quite shoddy and poor planning, for example, the pedestrianisation of Michael Street, Baron Strand Street, John Roberts Square, and Georgia Street, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. And over there is Ulica Revolucja, Revolution Street. And up there, of course, is Ulica Internacjonalna, International Street. Okay, I've been out here, guys, for a good 2 hours. So let's go inside, let's grab a coffee, get warmed up, get relaxed, wake myself up. Because in about an hour or so, it's going to get quite dark and then get much colder still. Okay, let's get inside. I am now on the Ulica Internacjonalna, one of the streets. It's coming up from Komsomolska Street. I have to say, guys, I feel a lot better after that cup of coffee. Oh, it's woken me up and it's warmed me up as well. But anyway, speaking of nightlife and so on and so forth, there's an interesting question or suggestion that I got from Thomas Scarrett, and he said it would be interesting to have you show us around Waterford, your old stomping grounds, a couple of food o'clocks, some history, and let us see what the inside of a real Irish pub is like. Great suggestion, Tom. Thank you very much for that. Good meal, mal good. Okay, but anyway, yeah, I haven't been back home in about 3 years, and hopefully I will go back for a short break, maybe sometime this summer or next Christmas, New Year, who knows what else. But I will definitely be showing you my hometown of Waterford City and the aforementioned pedestrianised areas of Michael Street, Baron Strand Street, John Roberts Square and Georgia Street. Yeah, and the mess that the local council made of the traffic along the quay. Indeed. So look out for that, guys. It's a great suggestion, by the way. Yeah, I do miss home. I miss my friends, miss the family, miss the crack, and above all, I miss the Blues, Waterford FC, my local football team. Of course, I do keep in contact with people from back home on Facebook, and of course I watch the League of Ireland games online as well. So all is not lost, guys. Yeah, I will be doing Waterford, and it is a city, Ireland's oldest city, that hasn't had much exposure over the last while or so on YouTube, but I will be rectifying that, and moreover, you're going to like it. All right, so we've done a bit too much talking around here. Let's get back on the metro and let's go to our next location. Let's go. Okay guys, so we're coming towards the end and I've arrived at the Institute Kultury, or the Institute of Culture, and right next to me to the left hand side is the Institute of Culture railway station, and that leads me on to the next topic: trains. Now, as you know, I love traveling by train, and for the vast majority of my trips around Belarus I have used the railways. And Belarus has a vast network of railways that can get you from A to B at a relatively very cheap price. Yeah, a lot cheaper than back home, by the way, and a lot more safer and more comfortable. Okay, that leads me on then to the next suggestion from Christopher Jones, and he said to me as follows: a journey on the Belgrade to Bar line by rail would be a good blog on your upcoming Serbia guide. Great idea, and I will probably actually do that. Okay, so what the Belgrade to Bar railway is, it connects Belgrade, the capital of Serbia, then it was capital of Yugoslavia, to the port of Bar on the Adriatic, which is in Montenegro. And this line was actually built, they began building it in the late 1950s, early 1960s, around the same time that the Brotherhood and Unity motorway was built, connecting Zagreb to Belgrade in Serbia. And there's a short section of the Belgrade to Bar rail line that cuts through the territory of Bosnia-Herzegovina, through the Republika Srpska, and apparently the Belgrade to Bar railway offers some of the best scenery in all of Yugoslavia, going through Montenegro, the mountainous Republic, all the way up through central Serbia, which is flat, into the city of Belgrade. Yeah, so as I said about my trip to Yugoslavia, it's going to take me a lot of time, a lot of effort, but I'm determined to do it. I'm determined to cover the 6 Yugoslav republics, all for brotherhood and unity of the Yugoslav peoples. Yeah, as they used to say back in the times of Marshal Tito, jedinstvo I bratstvo. Yeah, indeed. The trip actually marked out when it comes to the rail line, so I will be doing that. Yeah, we'll definitely be checking out Bosnia, Sarajevo, Mostar, Croatia, of course Zagreb, Slovenia, Ljubljana, Montenegro, of course Podgorica, Macedonia, Lake Ohrid, Tetova, Skopje, and of course up through Serbia. Maybe take the Belgrade to Bar as well, who knows. All right, okay, so yeah, it's getting dark here, guys, so enough talk about Yugoslavia. We're back in Belarus, so let's make our way back into the city. Well, we started off this afternoon at the statue of Belarus's most well-known writer and translator, Jakub Kolas. And we're going to finish it off with another, but less well-known, famous son of Belarus. And this is the last suggestion or a question from Extreme Fight, and he wrote to me as follows: do a video on Nikolai Zilovsky. I'm sure few have heard of him, but his story would blow their minds. How does a Belarusian born man become the president of Hawaii, a US citizen, then get deported and stripped of his citizenship? Well, I had never heard of Mr. Nikolai Zilovsky before you sent me that message, but he actually has a very interesting story, interesting background story. He actually wasn't born in Minsk. He was born in Mogilov, a city that's about 3 hours east of here in eastern Belarus, and he was, let's say, a very interesting character. He was a revolutionary, a socialist revolutionary, and to cut a long story short, he was caught up in a number of wars and revolutions. First in Bulgaria, he took part in the ill-fated Bulgarian uprising of Stepan Stambolov and Hristo Botev Then in 1877-78, he took part in the Romanian War of Independence. He was declared persona non grata from Romania in 1881 for his socialist activities. Fast forward, he ends up in Hawaii in the mid-1890s, then an independent kingdom in the Pacific before it was annexed by the US in 1898. He becomes the president of the Hawaiian Chamber, and after his time in the US, he ends up in northern China, Manchuria, where he tries to recruit Russian POWs during the Russo-Japanese War. He gets expelled by the Japanese, and eventually he ends up in warlord era China, where he dies a year before the first Japanese invasion of China. Nikolai Zilovsky, guy not many people have actually come across or heard of, but I definitely will do a feature on him. Maybe it'll take me back to Mogilov. Okay, but anyway, that is it, guys. Hope you've enjoyed the little trip around Minsk with your questions that I've answered thus far today. It's been an extremely cold day today. It's about minus 20, 25. So from Minsk, from Plasha Jakub Kolas, it's with me and my Karishka Frutkova Osobaya. Can't even think straight. And I'm gonna go home and enjoy this. In the meantime, I hope I don't slip and fall on my ass and kill myself. Okay, so that is it, guys. See you sometime soon. And as always from Minsk, it is Da Popochenia. Bye-bye.